I'll just tell you this right now. We do have mics set up on either side, so if you have questions for the cast, don't ask them about plot points because they were as much in the dark as you about season 8 and all the rest of it. But more importantly, we do have those mics, so if you've got a question, make sure you're lined up and queued up and ready to go. So I want to go down the line because all of you have ridiculously wonderful careers. I could spend time talking to each of you, whether it was 6 Feet Under, or Quarantine, or every single great part the amazing James Remar has done, David with his work with the Expendables and all the other films. So when you're bringing that experience and you're getting the first script to read for Dexter, when your agents say, so I've got this thing that we're getting ready to film for Showtime, and Jennifer, we'll start with you, we'll just come way down there. Yes, no, I'm from the get-go. I want you to talk about what your reaction was when you were reading that script for the first time, seeing what your characters were about at that first point.
I was hoping that my car would start so that I could get to the audition. But, I honestly didn't think that sometimes people can make a career or make a living on just doing pilots. You get paid for that job and then it goes away, doesn't get picked up. And I honestly, even though I thought it was really exciting, it was a time when I couldn't imagine that a network would champion a serial killer. And that's why I'm not a betting girl.
Eric?
I just thought it was some weird shit. This is some weird shit. This is a serial killer, you know. It was great writing from the beginning, so I was on board and interested in. Sergeant Dukes is he's a bit of a hard ass, but I knew who he was.
David?
When the audition came in, I was in Toronto, and they told me, come fly back to New York to audition for the show, and I was like, well, I got tickets to Blue Jays. I don't really want to fly in, but continuously he convinced me, and I went in, and as I was coming into New York, I read the pilot, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, okay. And so, I went in, I auditioned, and the rest, was great. I loved being in the show.
James?
It was the best television pilot script I had ever read. And at that point, I'd been an actor for about 25 years. And my initial reaction was, I will never get this part. And I was quite depressed when I went to the audition, and I just dragged my ass across the parking lot of Paramount. And I guess I was so emotionally raw because it was, I didn't think I had any chance at all, that something clicked. And I was in that condition because I had just come off doing a series that was just, the consensus was that it was garbage, and it was canceled, and I was an actor without a job. Best television pilot I ever read.
CS?
I was in New York doing plays, and I was in the thick of things, and I read the script, and I knew it was interesting. And there was this Asian American character in it that had a funny laugh. Okay, so I go to the audition, and I came up with this laugh, and I do the scene, and I do this, and all the producers just start grinning. And then I'm like, okay, thank you. I get done, I go back out, and then they're like, actually, can you come back in again? I go back in, they're like, can you do the laugh again? I think that's what got me the job.
My wife and I at the time, because we watched Dexter religiously, we had Masuka Bingo that was running for everything. So thank you very much for filling our cards at least once every couple of episodes.
My pleasure.
I had finished doing 6 Feet Under, and I thought the last thing I wanted to do at that point was another television show, and especially one that would have me once again surrounded by dead bodies. But I read the pilot script, and I was like, what am I, an asshole? I'm definitely doing this. It was unlike anything I'd ever encountered. I didn't know if it would find an audience, but I definitely had to do it. I mean, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen.
And for an actor to have back-to-back shows, whether it's movies or TV or whatever, where it's a career-defining bit from David from 6 Feet Under to Dexter Morgan, it's just got to be an embarrassment of riches at that point.
Yeah, Yeah, I have shit on both of my shoes, I guess. I stepped in it twice. I'm very, very lucky. 6 Feet Under ended, and everybody thought I was a fastidious funeral director, and I think David Fisher might have been Dexter's first victim. You know, because everybody thinks I'm a serial killer now. Not really. I know you guys don't think that.
If you go to Home Depot and you're in the plastic sheeting aisle, it's
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get started. Right over here.
I had to write this down because I'm super nervous. But I'm so thankful that the character Deb was reprised in this last season of Dexter. This last season, when I describe it, I wasn't expecting the word that I'm going to use to do my description. I just found it beautiful. The cinematography and the storytelling, but the art of those relationships and the internal struggles and the internal monologues was just beautiful. So thank you so much. So my questions for Jennifer. I briefly met you yesterday and you mentioned that you hadn't watched all of this last season yet and that you needed some time between actually filming it and watching it back. Could you tell us a little more about this part of the actor's process and why that's important for you?
Well, thank you for everything you said about the show and like the cinematography and all of that you took it all in that way. It's just really special. But I would say that this is the experience and the time I spent with these people was one of the most important chapters of my life. So to go back, it was very complicated to figure out where to start, where to begin, and what to pack with me and what to leave behind. And you know, it was very cathartic and strange to be back in this world and see the same faces on the front and the back side of the camera. And I think that I didn't watch it in its entirety because for me the show lives like a memory. I haven't gone back and watched it, and I wanted to put some space between my very complex experience of rejoining it and experiencing it like hopefully maybe you did. You had, I don't know, I feel like after staring at those pictures on the table all day, I feel like I want to go back and watch White Chicks and all the rest of it too. Like, it would be like reading a journal to remember it all. But thanks for your question and for your time. Thanks.
Could any other producer have done as good of a job with New Blood as Clyde Phillips when he decides to, send Showtime the idea for the script, sends you the script, or the script outline, you signed off on? Could anybody else have pulled this off?
I think it was important that Clyde was a part of it, that Marco Siega was a part of it. He was like a foundational director on the show. I think there's a really sort of fine line that you have to walk, or a really tiny bullseye that you have to hit. And only when other people who maybe weren't there at the beginning try to, do you appreciate what a difficult thing it is to tonally execute Dexter's world. So it's a long way to say, no, I don't think anybody else could have done it. And that'd be him.
Jennifer, what was your reaction when Clyde says, so we're bringing you back as the inner monologue for Dexter? Did you expect to be completely done with Dexter at that point, or what was your reaction when you got it?
I mean, for obvious reasons, yes. But, Michael and I would have the occasional coffee and talk about what would that be like, and, which was always exciting. So it was alive enough in my mind that it could become something. But I didn't want to come back and try to do anything that Harry had done. That wasn't the role at all. And in fact, it was important for me to make a decision that it didn't matter what was in black and white for all the other characters. I really have no idea what happens this season in New Blood with the crime and whatnot. It was more for me to see through Dexter's, to be a lens for him and to manipulate his feelings about his feelings. And that was so much fun. I had fun this time. I wasn't like in tears or like exercising my face from crying all day on the way home. It was wonderful. I had a great time.
Right over here.
weird. So, Michael, I asked you this question yesterday, and maybe you could go into depth a little more about it. My question was it difficult to portray a sociopath, and how do you prepare for a role where you have to essentially dissociate from your emotions?
It was difficult. I mean, it was difficult. It was unique. It was also a lot of fun as an actor to play a character who is imagining, at least, that everything he presents to the world is a simulation. It was sort of playing an actor in a way. He was dedicated to creating an authentic portrayal of a regular person, as we as actors are. I mean, the job changed as time went on. It morphed. Initially, he was a guy who was convinced that everything was fake in terms of what he presented to the world, and I think from the time his appetite is whetted, that he can have a real, more authentic experience of himself as a human being because of his brother showing up in the first season. He's on this road towards trying to have his cake and kill it too. You know, he's maintaining his identity and his behavior as a killer, but he's indulging this notion that he can experience himself as a human being, and it's a real mess, you know. but I think early on the approach was you know, as I prepared, like I would read books by FBI profilers and imagine reading them as Dexter, given that Dexter would probably look at such a book and try to avoid presenting himself in any way that fit the bill, you know, and his desire to not inspire any suspicion, if that makes sense.
Back over here.
Hi, my mom is an original fan of the show, so on her behalf, I have a question from her. Do you think your characters have affected your personality in any way?
Let's take it straight down the line. Michael, you start.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
But I can't say for sure how.
Not without incriminating yourself.
In actuality, my character, I kind of based it off of a friend of mine who's very similar in terms of the sexuality and the humor of Masuka. And I'm not gonna name who he is, but he's a friend of mine. And so part of that is based on that. And then of course, you know, the rest of it is in my imagination. So, but I don't think I'm anything like Masuka. Although sometimes if I have a few drinks, my friends will tell me otherwise.
So much Fifth Amendment pleading going on this stage. I think, Jake.
Well, yeah, I am actually living and breathing in that moment as that character, so perhaps. I don't really think so, but it may be that it reminds me of certain elements of my own personality, you know, because I was very much playing a father, offering guidance to a troubled child. And I would hear that resonate in my own personality, my experiences as a dad offering guidance. And, you know, every now and then it might feel like I was sounding like Harry.
David?
Well, I played Angel the way I would want to be, and I'm not. But it also, for someone who prides himself in being very aware and perceptive about a lot of things, I had to struggle with the fact that I did not want to be perceptive about what was the reality and what was going on. Partly because of an actor's choice, because I wanted to stay on the show. You know, because if you find out the truth, sometimes you don't stay on the show.
What'd you say?
So, yeah, Angel is the person that I strive to be David strives to be like Angel. Haven't gotten there yet, but that's what I was playing with.
That was a good answer, bro. I wish you had told me that a few years ago. I mean, as actors, of course, we're pulling from our experiences, people in our lives. So I'm sure that there are qualities about Dose that are very similar to me, like not letting shit go. You know, maybe if I let some things go, I'd still be there. No, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of qualities about Dose that live within me. I'm sure.
I wish I didn't have all this time to think about it. Now I don't know which part I'm going to pull from, but I do think, I don't know that she's changed me, but she certainly affected me. And I still, when I consider Deb and all that she went through, I still have this like visceral response to my feelings for her and my empathy for her. And in a weird way, she's always been a barometer for, why do some people get life one way and other people get it another way? Like all of her intention, all of her love, all of her hard work should have left her with a different result, and it didn't. And sometimes it's just the way it goes. And I think, if anything, it's kind of I think I try to live a life where I'm doing more consideration, having more consideration for what people may be going through. So in that way, I would like to think that she's changed me.
Eric, how many variations on Surprise MFer have you signed on photos this weekend?
Oh, I signed exactly the same on every photo. No. Surprise motherfucker is surprise motherfucker.
But you see, you are a meme star. I don't know what currency that carries in the 21st century, but more fries MFer, or...
I've heard all of that.
No free rides MFer, all of them.
No rides, yes. Well, I have to be honest.
Did you ever think, when you did that scene with Michael, did you ever think that would become such a big meme?
I've only heard that question like 10 times.
I'm just trying to wonder.
No, when I first saw the meme, and as you all know, because some of you have talked to me about it, some people saw the meme before they saw the show and didn't realize that it came from Dexter, so that was kind of cool, right? No, I didn't come up that way. I've been in the business a long time. I didn't know how to receive that when I first saw it. I thought people were making fun of me. I didn't catch that, right? And then I realized it's quite a compliment. But it's not cool when you're walking down the street and somebody says, "Surprise, motherfucker." Hey, now. So if you see me today, I kind of already heard it. So
maybe Sam Jackson can give you some notes.
Yeah, Sam is another motherfucker, that's for sure.
Reach in the back and pull out the wall. Right over here.
Yeah, this is a question out from Michael. Yeah, what was it like doing the film Gamer back in 2009?
Oh man, it was fun. It was. When I read that script, the thing that really turned me on was the segment with the dancing and the chance to, at least for a brief moment, control Gerard Butler's mind and beat him up. Ultimately, he made me stab myself in the stomach, but it was fun while it lasted. It was fun.
Back over here.
So, you've talked about how there's an outline for a character when you've gone for the pilot and stuff like that. You've talked about if you've carried some of those traits from that character into your lives. How much of you did you have liberty to insert into your characters after that basic outline was filled?
Anybody wants to jump in on that?
I think that's all you have. You have, it's you. It's you living, breathing, your flesh and blood, your memories, your imagination, your ability to surrender to whatever imaginative leap that you need to make. That's all it is. Otherwise, it's just words on a page. So, yeah.
But also,
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all the elements of being human, and that's why you can recognize the things that Dexter did and all of us did. Because somewhere in you have the same thing. We all have the same human emotions and feelings. And in essence, we have to inject a part of us into the character because otherwise, like you said, it's just words on the page.
But that's also part of like where the writers have sort of their control and their power is they do what we all do, right? However they interpret your life, your choice, what you make of it, whatever they like and want to exploit out of it, then they just pull more of that out, write more of that in. They like the way you say it, drop an F-bomb, you're gonna be throwing F-bombs for years.
Yeah, in a job like this, initially you're just encountering something that was written, but as you start to play the part, the writers start to write with you in mind and what they imagine you might do or what they imagine your strengths are. So it is kind of a dance with the writers.
Yeah, wasn't it funny? Because like in season 3, I think I had a baby in season 3. C.S. Lee had a baby with my wife, and then like season 4 or 5, all of a sudden Masuka has a baby coming. So I'm wondering maybe if the writers, heard that. Oh
They
yeah.
run out of ideas.
Yeah, it doesn't come from anywhere. Just a vacuum. It comes from somewhere.
As actors, our job, once we see the words on the page, is to imbue these things with behavior. It doesn't say on the page that like he scratches his ear or he picks his nose or gets up from the chair. Sometimes they try to, but the behavior, when somebody says a line and says it like this or they say it like that, it makes a complete difference, and that's what we do as actors, is we breathe the life into the words on the page. So it's inevitable that, as everyone else has said, that our personalities color what you see.
Can I say one more thing? I think that
Yes.
that is why this show is so special, because everybody up here is trained and seasoned, and it's not a job, it's a job, but we come for I hate to say it, but everybody's here with their soul, their heart, their history, everything on the table and ready to play. So when you look in the eyes of any of you from day to day, it's just riches getting poured on you all the time. Where so many shows now, sometimes it just feels like everybody's like signed their contract and they're good to go.
And the other thing that I found interesting is that each one of you is from a different school of acting, whether it was Tish or Juilliard or any of the other, bits like that. So it seems like you're all bringing a different approach. Exactly. Yeah. It seems like you're bringing a different approach, but at the end, the chemistry, especially in the first couple seasons when the Barry, which is so incredibly, hidden at that point, except for Dokes, because Dokes knew.
No.
We all know you did.
No, I'm shaking my head because I'm reminiscing about what it was like for us at the beginning, at the very beginning. This is the original cast of the show, right? And just to watch, I marvel at the work that we were able to create. Even when I wasn't on the show, I was always rooting for these guys and these ladies because this was family. And when you said that, I was struck by the fact that we were finding our way at the beginning. And it turned into this incredible project that we got to share with you. So it really was a family. It is a family.
Back over here.
This question's for Jennifer. You had a lot of great lines of stab. One of them being, I would rather put a campfire out with my face. What's your favorite catchphrase of Deb's?
Or just one that sticks out, if somebody mentions that, just one that sticks in your brain.
Well, the problem is I have a 7-year-old, so I don't like to cuss anymore, and I don't want to put it online any more than it already is. But
You had some good ones. Especially to me, you had some good ones.
I don't want to step on my own dick. I don't mind cussing.
I'd rather put out a campfire with my face was always my favorite, which is why it wound up in the reboot.
I love the fact you have your own profanity translator over there.
We're a family.
I always like the simple one. I'll punch you in your throat or the neck. I'll punch you in your neck.
Was there one person responsible for blown takes more than the other ensemble? You're all sitting here, so it's not going to get back to me because you're sitting here. Out of the 6 of you, is there one person who you couldn't get a line out or the giggles just kicked in more often than not? Who was it? point fingers.
Well, it was difficult to keep a straight face when CS said some of his lines because I don't even remember reading them in the script. It just popped out of his mouth. And so, I mean, that was, ruined a couple of takes, not too many.
But you know, that going back to that other questions, you know, especially during that first couple seasons, I did improvise some stuff off of the original writing, and any one of these people who I acted it would just go with the flow. And especially with Michael being so serious as Dexter, I mean, I came in, every time I had a scene with him, I tried to think of a moment or a line where I could do something or say something to kind of rattle him or make him giggle, crack up. And I'm sure there's tape of that somewhere in Showtime, the halls of Showtime. But that was a lot of fun. But Michael was always the consummate professional, and some of those takes actually made it into one.
Yeah, I didn't want to crack up because I knew it was gold. I was like, don't blow it, man. This is hilarious.
And I can see that in his face.
Yeah.
Coming from somebody who did Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I would think that would be a refreshing thing to not have to be over the top, but to be able to rein it in.
Yeah. Dexter was a very internal. I mean, he's a character. The audience is in his head. You know, you can do the less you do, the more you do. Sometimes with a character like that, you got to sort of just do very little at times and leave room for people to just project onto Dexter because he's sort of a canvas for the viewer's imagination.
One eye twitch and it starts an entire internet for Absolutely. Right back over here.
Hi, you guys probably get this asked probably thousands of times, but when reading the plot and also looking at your character, is there any aspects of the character that resonate with you? And when reading the plot, did you ever think this part is for me and why?
I'll go first. Well, just off page, Masuka's fun-loving, joking, loves the women kind of guy. But as season 1 progressed, I realized Masuka is actually a very lonely guy. And the reason why he was a bit weird, a bit off, is because that's the way he connected with people. He found out that if he could make people kind of giggle or like be awkward, it made him feel special. So I don't know if many of you got it, but in actuality, Masuka was a very lonely guy, outside of the Miami Metro-Dade, police force.
My grandfather's name was Harry, so I liked that very much, and I wanted to play it.
I know what it's like to kill people and cut them up, and so I was able to use that.
And then embalm them and put them in a box.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that the biggest crossover between Dexter and me was the fact that I killed a lot of people. Not really.
I think, David, the actor, always had a struggle. I always wrestle with how can I put more integrity in my life? And it was an opportunity to have Angel have as much integrity as I would think that I would like to be. And so that was something that I constantly wrestled with. And even if it was, especially in the beginning, when I was trying to, set the tone for this character, and then I was hoping that the writers would run with it, and they did. They were good writers, and so that was something that I really strive for, to have this character in this story of death and blood, and just and try to create some kind of integrity that may not be realistic in real life, but it was that was always a struggle for me.
I just gotta say, I'm hearing that David Zayas is a very good person, as far as I can tell. Disclaimer. A lot of integrity.
You're not the only one with secrets, pal.
Okay.
And I happen to be the son of a police officer and sitting next to a police officer. So I had I had a real sense of who Dopes could be, but I was always kind of looking for the underbelly. I mean, of course he was a hard ass, he was all those things, but he was also very loyal. And I think it just troubled him that he couldn't figure it out. That this pit bull over here, you know, he kept giving me the slip. So yeah, just for me, just knowing that I know those guys, I know those cops who have to make sense of things, is what I relate to about Dopes.
I was very green. Deb was very green. I mean, I remember, I know how to put the work in and like make some choices that I feel like might be unusual or something that people hadn't been thinking could happen or something in an audition. But when it was time to shoot, you know, I had done a couple of things, but it wasn't like I knew how to hit the mark on the floor exactly right. I didn't know what all the lingo meant, you know, for where cameras were gonna move. And we were shooting in your apartment, and somebody said something and I didn't know what it meant, and you told me how to favor the camera or something. So it wasn't, I felt like connected to the character every time I had those slips, but during the pilot when I go and get the donuts or something, like I offer you donuts in the morning, we have to go in, and that was the first time I took the shackles off and was like, just see what happens, and that was the first glimpse I had of her, you know, where it felt easy, so that's that.
And you have the last